good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very warm welcome to this webinar on how to jumpstart your business digitally during and post-COVID crisis for MSMEs. It gives me immense pleasure to extend you all a very warm welcome on behalf of PSD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The objective of this webinar is to guide step-by-step instructions of how one can easily use digitally and e-commerce to fill up the empty void, fill up the void that has been created in the businesses, the current crisis. It will help everyone and to take their brands ahead. I am especially very thankful to the FinPlus knowledge partners of this webinar and all the speakers, experts help us not only survive but also thrive and be well prepared for any other crisis that might come our way in the future. So PSD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, it's a 115 years old organization. We are apex chamber in the country with more than 130,000 companies as our members. So it works very closely with Indian government for the growth of Indian industry, and we work with policymakers and regulators of the country. Then regular interactions, seminars, conferences, and conclaves allow healthy and constructive discussions between the government, industry, and international agencies for vital growth. Globally, when you see MSMEs, micro, small, medium-sized enterprises are the backbone of any economy. In fact, in India, when we see that around 64 million companies are there, and out of that 99% companies are MSMEs. So you can understand the importance of MSMEs, and MSME account for around 60% of the employment in our country. Many MSMEs depend on international trade for their activities, either because they export their products through direct and indirect channels, or because they import inputs. They import inputs to manufacture the products, and they sell domestically. They are major employers of women, young people, and key drivers of innovation. So there are sectors like textile, agriculture. There are so many MSMEs who are involved. We are already seeing how businesses that can accept digital payments or respond to digital orders are proving to be more resilient. Looking ahead, MSMEs that can leverage digital tools will more easily be able to rebuild, relaunch their businesses. Going digital is not an option anymore. It's absolutely essential. But barriers to digitization still exist in our country, including the cost, access to technology, lack of familiarity. The effective digitization of MSMEs will require the collaboration of industry players to develop effective digital platforms, offering training for MSMEs to leverage these platforms and provide financial tools and resources to help plan for the future. Friends, we are already basically seeing so many things that are happening post-COVID, especially when India missed out on industry, third industrial revolution. Now we are at the industry 4.0. So it is very critical for MSMEs to adopt the digitization in the process which is there. Now, to limit the impact of current crisis, MSMEs should adopt the technology immediately, and to build their resilience, it is critical that MSMEs have better access to regulatory and market information, affordable trade finances, as well as streamlined customs procedures requirements. Greater use of digital tools and e-commerce would also benefit MSMEs. Key focus of every MSME business is actually like virtualization to enable traditional offline processes and systems to operate digitally, utilizing digital interventions across the value chain via startups to rapid scale up, like including apps, cloud, video, etc. Developing custom built demands, price forecasting tools, operational controls, then towers to manage decision making in micro markets. Ensure product mix is in line with the changing market conditions. Managing production in case plant location is a COVID hotspot. VA, like all manufacturers. Now, causing health of channel partners, etc. Understanding need for additional distributors, ecosystem partnerships. MSME need to draw up actually a specific multidisciplinary plan to help recover from the crisis and ensure business growth and sustainability as the pandemic subsides. As a starting point, to this exercise, companies must set up growth office, that is gain, recover, and thrive. This would typically be an extension of COVID crisis command centers that most companies would have set up in the immediate aftermath of the pandemic. And it is very important because, in fact, Industry 4.0 or digitization will hold more significance in the current scenario, especially after COVID, because how people have been restrained from using machines. If it was AI or robotics or any other mechanized or automized offices, then it would have been very easy. Right now, all the supply chains are disrupted. Manufacturing is disrupted. So this is the time for the MSMEs to prepare themselves, to actually equip themselves for any such kind of crisis in the future. Therefore, it is very important to adopt the digitization. It is very important to know that how to jumpstart your business immediately after the pandemic is over, or even during the time of pandemic. There have been many examples. We get many phone calls from MSMEs as well. They have not been affected because they had they had immediately adopted all the technologies. So I wish this seminar all success, and I am very thankful to the FinPlus, to Mr. Jain, Mr. Rakesh Jain, Ms. Smita Jain, and Roshan and Rohit, everybody, and Mithilesh, who have set up this wonderful program for MSMEs. Since one of the focus area of our chamber is MSMEs, and it's very important. It is our duty also, when 99% companies are MSMEs, until and unless we revive the MSMEs, until and unless these MSMEs are strengthened, we cannot get ahead in our economy. So with these words, I welcome you all once again. And now I would request Mr. Goyal, who is a co-chairman. I don't know whether Mr. Goyal has been able to join this program so far or not. I'm not too sure. Probably he has Webex has some problem in joining, maybe. So if that is if Mr. Goyal is not there, I would request Roshan then to start the next speaker.
Thank you, sir, so much for the very warm introduction that you have given to our team. Just before we start, I would thank you everybody for joining this program with us. Today, we are going to discuss on 3 topics. One, of course, being the e-commerce business and how can you jumpstart that using different marketplace platforms. Secondly, we will be touching on the whole digital marketing aspect of it. And obviously, the last part is your own website, because today the website is your identity card. I would like to introduce Rohit from my team, who heads the e-commerce division part of it, and he will be taking us to the next part of the session. Thank you, everybody, again for joining.
So thank you, Roshan, for the introduction, and thank you, Dr. Mehta, for the valuable insights that you shared to take in this webinar. So I'll just quickly share my screen with you.
Yeah, sure.
Is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Rohit.
Okay, fine. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the webinar today. My name is Rohit Pawar, and I'm heading the e-commerce section at FinPlus. So let me begin with what our Prime Minister had to say a few days back regarding the ongoing pandemic and economic condition. So he said, very rightly said, that in the midst of every crisis, uh, there lies a great opportunity, for all the businesses. So here, we as all the businesses and whatever participants we have today, each one of us have an opportunity to expand your online business. Now, how to expand that online business? We as a FinPlus are here to guide you how to expand your online business. But when we say there's an opportunity, there are always challenges involved in those opportunities as well. So initially, I'll take you through, what are the challenges and how to manage those challenges and how to overcome those challenges to expand your business. So to begin with, I won't get into the detailing of how to start online selling and all those, because most of you must be aware how to start the online selling and what are the basics of it. So I'll directly jump to the challenges or the pain points that each one of you must be facing when you start online selling. The first challenge which I feel most of you must be having is regarding the visibility of your products. So when you say poor visibility, it can be because of the product category that you deal into, kind of portal that you deal into. So you need to address all these issues when you want to increase your product visibility. The next challenge faced by the brands is regarding the product pricing. So most of the people whom I come across, they question me like, how should I price my product? Should I follow the same offline model, or should I opt for the different pricing model for the online business? Then next challenge faced by the brands is regarding the higher returns. Now, most of the people, they face challenges because in that product category, there's a higher return ratio, which in turn results into losses for you. So how to manage these return issues and how to reduce your return ratio. Next is optimizing the ad spends. Now, most of the brands whom I talk about advertising online, they always say to me that uh, why to burn money in advertising? I don't want to get into advertising because it is not giving me any ROI or better returns out of the advertisement. So how should you optimize on your advertising spends? I'll guide you through those. Next is the low reviews and ratings. In e-commerce industry, reviews and rating plays a very crucial role. So how should you ensure that you have enough good amount of positive reviews on your product so that customer trust your brand and trust your product to make the purchase. And the last but not the least is the account reconciliation. One should always reconcile their accounts. Generating sales is not a big task, but what is important is to make sure that you are earning enough profit out of the transactions that you are making. So let us begin with discussing each one of them in detail now. So the first challenge is regarding the visibility. Now, I'm sure most of you must be having these kind of issues in your mind. Why is the online sales so low for me? Why my products are not visible in the top searches? Why marketplace is not promoting your products or brand? So the solution is quite easy. The 5 pointers that I've written over here. Uh, First of all, analyze the product that you are selling. Are you selling a right product? Do a market research on it. Are you selling the right product on right marketplace? Are you selling the right product on right marketplace on right timing or not? To give you an example, if you are a pharmaceutical seller, if you are selling something related to the pharmacy related product, and if you're selling that product on marketplace like suppose Snapdeal or Paytm or Shopclose, obviously the traffic on your product or the sales is going to be on the lower side. Rather, what you should do is you should opt for the portals like 1mg, PharmEasy, NetMeds. This is how you are going to get more traffic on your products. This is how you are going to get more response to your product. So it is always important to do a little bit of market research before entering the product, before entering the market. Next is creating an attractive product title and description. In short, creating a good content for your product. Now, this content is very important when it comes to the online selling. This is not only related to visibility, but in the further slides as well, when we discuss about few other pain points, content is going to play a very crucial role. So we need to invest proper time, when you're creating content for your product, for your brand. Uh, there are different guidelines that each marketplace follows. So pay attention to those guidelines, follow those guidelines, whichever marketplace you are dealing into, study the guidelines properly. Make sure the title of the product is properly designed. There are different guidelines given by marketplace that The keyword should be there, the brand name should be there, the dimensions, the material, all these things should be included in your either in your title, in your description, or else in your bullet points. So what you need to do is try to include as many as keywords in your product content, be it product title, be it product description, be it product bullet points. Okay. The next important thing is the professional high quality images. Now, just to give you an example of why this content and images are important, you must have seen the launches of mobile phones, especially when the MI launches any of the new mobile phone on Amazon or else on Flipkart. Now, you must have seen the listing, kind of listing they create for their products. They always ensure the title is up to the mark. They always ensure all the USPs, all the important features regarding the product is highlighted into the description, into the bullet points. Apart from this, the kind of photography they do, they include each and every minute details in the photography as well. And recently what they have started is they have started uploading the product videos, which highlights the USPs, the camera quality, the battery quality, and all those things as well. And the latest thing which these marketplaces have introduced is including the unboxing videos of this product. So when you see any of the new MI product getting launched, when you see the product listing, there will be an influencer who is talking about the unboxing of the product, what all things are included into the box, or what all things should be taken care while opening the product, while starting the product. What happens is, when you include all this information in your product, you are trying to sell the experience of your product. You are not trying to sell the product to the consumer. And when you do all these things in the right way, half the battle is won for you. So when you look at this MI product listing, it gives you exactly same experience as if you are standing in a mobile showroom and there's a salesman next standing right in front of you who is giving all this information to you regarding the product. So that age-old theory, what people used to say that online there's no touch and feel quotient to it. So adding all these things will help you to address all those issues of touch and feel or giving all the information to the customer. So the bottom line is try to include as many keywords, try to include as many information about your product in your product content and images. So that will help you to get more and more visibility. That will help you to get more and more conversion. Next is promote your product in the right manner. So this refers more to an advertising part, so which we'll be covering in the later slide. So the next pain point that most of the brands face is how to manage the product pricing. How should I price my product? Should I follow the same offline model, or there should be something different strategy which I should follow for the online market? So the answer to this question is, in these 5 pointers that I have written it. So you should ask yourself, are you competitive into the market? Are there competitors available for your product? If yes, and then at what price they are selling. Study the pricing at what your competition is selling. Study the market on which marketplaces they are selling. So once you have all this data, it will help you to finalize your own product price. Always try to balance the pricing, looking at what your competitors are doing, what the trending selling price is there in the marketplace. Second important thing is question yourself: is there anything unique about your product? If there's no competitor available to your product, then I would say charge a premium price for your product, because then you have the first mover advantage. Then there's no need to get into the pricing war with the other sellers. Third is, what is the discount offered on your product? Now, to be very frank, it doesn't matter at what price the product is reflecting at. Most of the people in India, they are very price sensitive and discount sensitive. So what they do is they always filter products based on the maximum discounts that the sellers are offering. So if you are not offering any discounts on your product, it is very difficult to get conversions or get the visibility or traffic on your product. So always try to ensure that you offer some amount of discounts on your product, not more than 50, more than 60% discount, but at least 10, 20, 30% discount on your product, so that you keep the customer interested in your product. Then next is, have you considered all the deductions, and is the payout justifying your profit margins? Now, when I say deductions, is because there are n number of deductions that are involved in the marketplaces when you sell on the marketplace. First is obviously the category commission that comes into the picture. Second is the logistic fee. Third is the payment gateway fee. Then there would be a fixed fee. There would be the closing fee. So there are n number of fees involved. There's a return cost. There's a packaging cost. So what you need to do is you need to factor all these costs while making the pricing of your product. Include all these things in the pricing, and based on that only finalize the selling price, because it doesn't makes sense to sell your product while making losses. So always ensure you earn some amount of profit, you keep some kind of margin for you when you are selling the product. The next major challenge that most of the brands face is regarding the controlling returns. Now, across all the categories, the return ratio is more than 8%, more than 10%, or more than 20%. So this is a big loss for all the online sellers. So how should you control these sellers, control these returns? So first thing is understand the marketplace policies in detail. Now each marketplace will come up with different kind of a return policy. Some marketplace will operate on 3 days return policy, some will operate on 7 days, some will operate on 30 days return policy. So pick and choose the marketplace which is more comfortable you're working on. Don't opt for a marketplace which is offering more than 30 days return policy on your product, because obviously then customers are going to misuse that thing of return policy, and they are going to return the product after using it. So always ensure that you study the policies, and based on that, you finalize the marketplace. Next is providing the detailed content for your product. Like I mentioned into the previous slide, the importance of content, when you are selling online. It is very important. It is not only to increase the visibility, it will also help you to reduce the returns. Now, when I say reduce the returns, what you can do is you can include the detailed information about your product, like what is the shape of your product, what is the size of your product, what is the color of your product, what material your product is made up of. Then you can include the detailed size chart of your product, which will help you if you are dealing into apparels or footwear category. Mentioning or providing the size chart to your customers will be of great help. It will help you to reduce the return ratio because of the size complaints that customers usually make. So try to make your content up to the mark. This will help you definitely to help you reduce the return ratio on the marketplace. Then the third point is ensure you have proper packaging. Now imagine if you as a customer, you have placed an order and the order is delivered to you, it has come in a damaged condition because of the poor packaging. So what is the first thing you will be doing? You will be raising a return request for the product. So as a seller, always ensure that you make your product, pack it in such a way that in the transit, even if it is handled in a rough way, your product is not getting damaged. Pack it properly, keep a corrugated box or fill it, put the fillers inside the product packaging to ensure that it is not getting damaged. Next is opt for the warehousing model, that is FBA or Flipkart Assure. See, most of the marketplaces, the major marketplaces like Amazon and Flipkart, they offer this kind of services to the sellers, wherein you can keep the inventory in their warehouse. So keeping the inventory in their warehouse gives you three kind of advantages. First is obviously you have the faster delivery period, the tag period reduces, so you can provide the deliveries to the customer on the same day, on the next day. So this way, customer, if the order is placed, customer don't get enough time to look for more options or else to cancel the order. Immediately on the same day or else the next day, the product gets delivered to the customer. The second advantage of opting for the warehousing model is you get the Prime badge or else a Flipkart Assured badge on your product. So this helps you to get more and more customer confidence. Customer trust products or the sellers who are selling with Prime badge or else the Flipkart Assured badge. And the third is to minimize the risk of getting the fake complaints, the false complaints given by the customers. You all must have come across situations wherein customers have complained that they have received empty boxes, empty parcels, or else stone inside a mobile phone box. So how to minimize this risk is get into this warehousing model, because if the inventory is with the marketplace, marketplace won't question you regarding empty shipments or else a damaged shipments or else a wrong product kind of a complaint, because then they are responsible for the shipping. And then in case if customer is claiming such kind of false claims, you have marketplace with you, to reimburse for all the damages that is caused to you. So always ensure that you are selling products into the warehousing model. And the last but not the least is rework on the pricing. Now I'll give you a small example. We had a seller who is dealing into kids fancy dresses. Now few of their products, like we used to sell them at a premium pricing. So these fancy dresses, this customer used to order for the events into the school for their children, for the Republic Day or Independence Day or this kind of events. So these products are mainly manufactured as a one-time use sort of a thing. But what used to happen is customer used to order the product, they used to get the delivery of it, and then they used to feel disappointed. They used to feel okay, the price that I have paid for this product is not justified. I'm not deriving the enough value out of the price that I have paid for this particular product. So the customer feels cheated. Customer feels that he has been robbed. So what you can do is always ensure that you are providing the actual value what you are charging to the customer. Price your product based on the value that your product is going to provide to the customer. Don't overcharge for your products. Next is the ad spend optimization. Now, advertising, it is not difficult to advertise your products on the online marketplaces. Anyone can start with the advertising. You can just add money to your online wallet and start advertising your product. But what is important is to optimize on the ad spends that you are doing. Now, how to optimize on these ad spends? Now, the first thing, the basic thing is focus on the right set of keywords that you are using for your advertising campaign. Now, how to come to the conclusion, okay, these are the right set of keywords for my product. So what I recommend to my brands, or what I do to the brands whom I'm managing, is I always do a A/B testing for them. I always do a sample test. I always run an automatic campaign for them. This amazing feature is available in Amazon, wherein you can start the advertising with an automatic campaign, wherein you are not entering any keywords for your product, but based on the marketplace algorithm, marketplace themselves, makes your advertising visible to the customers. To run this kind of a campaign for 15 days or 30 days, then you have some kind of data available with you. You have some customer search terms, what customers are searching, and when my advertisement is visible to those customers. So once you have this kind of a data, then you can begin with a more aggressive and more, high budget campaign on the marketplaces. So now when you start with the more high budget campaigns on the marketplaces, there's a feature known as match case on the marketplace. So this match case, what it does is it provides you three options. First is the exact match case. Second is the broad match case. And third is the phrase match case. So what we always recommend to begin with is to begin with the exact match case for your products, because this way what you can do is you can always make your advertisement visible only to the relevant customer base. For example, if you are dealing into, suppose, biscuits, so if you keep a keyword as a biscuit and you select a phrase or as a broad match case for advertisement, then what happens is there's a customer who is searching biscuits for dogs. Okay, if he puts this keyword as a biscuit for dogs, and if you have kept your advertising campaign as an phrase or as broad, it might happen that marketplace displays your product to that, that customer base who is searching for the dog's biscuit. So that is a big no-no. That is a big loss for your particular brand. First is obviously you are losing out in a marketing budget. Apart from that, also your brand name is getting tarnished, because it is eatables. It is an eatable product for the human being, and it is getting displayed as a dog biscuit. So it is always recommended to start with the exact match case, wherein customer putting biscuit, only then your product is visible. The another example you can take is jeans for kids or else jeans for adults. So always ensure you enter the keywords based on this exact match case, so that your product is visible to the relevant customer base only. The next is again optimizing on the page content. As I mentioned you earlier, the importance of content, it comes in each and every aspect of your online business. So imagine you have spent ample amount of money to promote your product. Now your product is visible to the customer. Customer has clicked on your advertisement and he has been redirected to your product page. Now is the time of making the conversion it into the sales. But unfortunately, because of the poor content on your product or else the poor product images, customer doesn't buy your product. He goes to your competitor because he didn't find any proper details in the description, into the title, or else he didn't found the product images to be attractive. So again, your advertising budget is lost, and again the opportunity for converting into the sale is lost. So it is very important to optimize your content, keep proper images, keep proper content. So when a customer is visiting a product page, keep him interested in your product, give him right set of content, so that he stays glued to the screen to looking at your product. He is not looking at the competitors at that particular point. Next is choose between the product and brand promotion. Now it is very important to figure out whether you are trying to promote a single product, or you are trying to promote the entire category, or else you are trying to promote the entire brand. There are different kinds of promotions available on marketplaces. So whenever you are launching a new product, always focus on the product advertisement, that is a sponsored advertisement. But if you're trying to promote the entire range of products, entire category of product, always get into the brand promotion, wherein you're promoting the entire range of product. Now the advantage of brand promotion is you can get into the cross-selling as well. It might happen that customer has visited your advertisement for looking for a particular product, and he ends up buying the other product because of the brand promotion. The last is set the right bid amount and the daily budget. always bid properly for the trending keywords. What are the trending keywords? You always want to feature among the top of the search list for the trending keywords. So always bid very aggressively for this kind of trending keywords, and identify what are the non-performing keywords in your campaign. Remove those keywords, or else at least reduce your bid price on those non-performing keywords, so that your overall advertising cost is reduced. And apart from that, ensure that your daily budget is properly allocated to the campaign. It should not happen that you have kept a budget of suppose 5,000 or 10,000 as a daily budget, and on the weekend, in the morning itself, your campaign goes out of the budget. So for the entire day, your advertisement is inactive on the portal. So that is an opportunity lost. So always ensure that whatever budget you are keeping, it will last for the entire day. So these are a few case studies for the brands, for the category which we have uh, worked, and we have managed their advertisement using all these 5 points. So if you follow all these 5 points very strictly and very properly, you'll get this kind of ACOS. So here, if you see, for this particular brand, we have just spent 9,500 rupees, and we have generated sales worth rupees 3,60,000. The ACOS is only 2.66%. So here, this particular brand was dealing into the books category. So if you follow these steps, this is the kind of output you can expect for your product. This is the second brand which I was talking about in the kids clothing. Now here, if you look at it, the ACOS is only 5.08%. We have spent only 1,78,000 and generated sales more than 35 lakhs. So this is the third category which you are managing. It is into the mobile accessories. Now here, comparatively to the earlier two cases, the ACOS is relatively on the higher side, but still better than the industry standards, that is 22.47%. Now this is because the ACOS over here is high, because mobile accessories, as you all must be knowing, it is a very highly competitive market. It is a very price sensitive market. So here the ACOS is relatively on the higher side, but still it is within the recommended range of the marketplaces. So next important aspect for the online selling is how to get the more positive reviews and feedbacks on your product. Now, to be honest, as a customer, when you buy any product online, uh, there are very less things on which you rely upon. Obviously, first is the product content, second is the product images, and third important thing is the reviews and rating. What are the other customers talking about the product? So you always go through the product reviews and feedbacks before making the buying decision. So it is always important to have people talk something good about your product. So how to get more and more positive reviews and feedbacks on your product? So try to deliver the best customer experience to the your clients. How to ensure that you are delivering best customer experiences? Always try to address, in case if there's any customer complaint, or if there's any customer query given by the customer, or if there's any negative review posted by the customer, try to address those issues. Try to resolve those issues by getting in touch with the customer. Try to give them some sort of a solution. By this, what happens is customer feels okay, this is a brand with whose product I have purchased, and they value the customer. They are responding whatever queries I have. So this in turn, even if the customer has posted a negative review, and if you provide right kind of a solution to them, it might happen that customer might remove that negative review and post a positive review on the product. So always try to deliver best of a customer experience to your clients. Second is build credibility for your brand. Always try to indulge your customers into brand loyalty program or else customer engagement program, by either providing them some kind of discounts or some kind of vouchers for the next purchase, or else get them involved into some kind of a contest that you're running on your social media pages or anything of that sort. By doing this, what happens is you build up a rapport with your customers. Once you build up that kind of a rapport, the brand recall happens, the brand credibility gets developed, and this way, customer trust your brand and they write good things about your product, about your brand. Third is make use of the automated tools. Now, there are many various free automated tools available into the market, which helps you to get in touch with the customers twice, thrice into the entire sales cycle. First is, as soon as the product is placed, you can get in touch with the customer for thanking him for making the purchase with our brand. Second is, once the product is dispatched, you can send the logistic details like tracking details and delivery details for those things to the customer. Third is, post 6 or 7 days after the product is delivered to the customer, you can again get in touch with the customer asking regarding the feedback of the product. Are you satisfied with the product? Are you happy with the product? Do you have any feedbacks, or do you want us to make any changes in the product or our customer service? So these kind of automated tools, they will help you out to get all these things done in a proper and right way. Next is don't fall prey to the fake reviews. Try to get more and more verified reviews. Now, earlier what used to happen is most of the sellers, they used to self-review their product from their own personal ID, from their own relatives or employees. So nowadays, what marketplace and customers, they are evolving. They are becoming more and more smarter. Marketplace has come up with the tool known as verified reviews tag. Okay, so whatever customers they have purchased the product, actually they have purchased the product, only they get access to this verified review tag. And customers, they always filter the reviews based on this verified review tag. So they always go through the reviews only if the verified review tag is displayed next to the customer review. And if there's no verified review tag, customers come to know, okay, these are the fake reviews posted by the seller or the brand, just to ensure that the brand value goes up. So that is a big negative for your brand. So don't get into the fake reviews kind of a system. Always try to get more and more positive reviews and verified reviews on your product. Next point is reconciliation. If I tell you, reconciliation is a big elephant in the room when you talk about the online selling, because making sales or doing sales or generating sales on e-commerce portal is not that difficult task, to be very frank. But what is important is to ensure that you are generating profits out of it. So always ensure that you are reconciling the accounts on the weekly or monthly basis. Don't wait for reconciling your accounts till the end of the year when you're doing the balance sheet for your company, because each marketplace, they operate on a certain TAT period. So if you are raising a claim for some sort of reimbursement or some sort of refund at the end of the year, they won't entertain you. You need to raise those kind of claims within a week's time, or within the allocated TAT period that marketplace has given you. So what are the things that you should consider while doing this reconciliation? So first is the kind of logistic fees that they are charging you. Now let's take an example. If your product belongs to a half kg slab, so ideally the logistic cost should be 60 or 70 rupees including GST and everything. Okay, and your product value is 500 rupees. So in case if the marketplace has mistakenly charged you for a 1 kg slab instead of 500 gram slab, so what happens is the logistic fee will increase from 70 or 80 rupees to around 110 or 120 rupees. So directly the logistic fee shoots up by 50 rupees or 40 rupees. So that is overall 10% of your product value if your product is priced at 500 rupees. Now, most of the brands, they don't have, even 10% margin on their product. And imagine if in this scenario, if marketplace is overcharging you for the logistic fees, whatever profits you have earned by selling the remaining products, it is all gone in vain. So always ensure that the weight slab that marketplace is charging you is based on the actual weight of your product. So always make sure that the logistic fees is not overcharged by the marketplace too. The second point is keep a check on the penalties for the order cancellation and returns. Now, there are various scenarios in which order gets cancelled because of the multiple reasons. It might be because of the logistical issue, it might be because of the technical issue on the marketplace. But you need to reconcile your accounts at the end of the month just to ensure that cancellation has not been tagged as a seller cancellation. Because if that happens, marketplace will charge you suppose 100% of the penalty or 200% of the penalty for cancelling the order. But as a brand, you're not at a fault because it was a technical issue at the marketplace end. So you need to reconcile these things. And if these things have happened, so you need to raise a claim with the marketplace for the reimbursement within the allocated TAT period to get the reimbursement. Third is reconcile your returns. Now, this won't be an issue if your overall order volume is on the lower side. But when you scale up your business, when you are dispatching, suppose 100 orders a day, 500 orders a day, or 1000 orders a day, at that time, it becomes an issue for you because then you won't be able to physically reconcile your accounts on the daily basis. But it is very important to do because imagine you are dispatching 1000 orders a day, out of which 50 or 100 are getting returned on the daily basis. So on the marketplace panel, product is getting tagged as returned, but the physically product is not returned back to your warehouse. So who will bear the charges for this particular thing? So you need to claim for the reimbursement with the marketplace within the allocated time period again for this kind of claims. Because if you wait till the end of the year, marketplace again won't entertain you in this kind of scenario. Next is cross-check the category commission. Now there are products which can be tagged across multiple categories. So you need to ensure what category your product is tagged into. Always try to tag your product into the relevant category and in which the commissions are on the lower side. So at the end of the month, when you're reconciling your accounts, just give a glance on it whether marketplace has charged a proper commission, marketplace commission to you, or they have either overcharged you. In case if that happens, again raise for the reimbursement with them. Then last is ensure payment is released based on the agreed payment cycle. Now, each marketplace will have a different payment cycle for you. Some might operate on a 3 days payment cycle. Some might operate on a 7 days payment cycle. Some might operate on a 14 days payment cycle. So keep on checking your payment disbursement which is happening from these marketplaces on the regular basis, whether payment is released on the 7th day or not, whether payment is released on the 14th day or not. If it is not happening, it's time for you to raise the red flag with the market. So, friends, after looking at all these things, I'll say, the future is very bright for the online selling or for the online sellers. It's time to make a difference and grow your business 10x, especially right now because of the situation that the entire market is into because of this COVID situation. People are not going to buy stuff. They are not going to go into the offline market. They are not going to stand into the multiple retail outlets making a queue for a longer time. They'll always prefer to buy stuff online. So try to go online as much as possible and try to list your products on the online marketplaces, your own website, on your social media as much as possible. Another important thing what I want to highlight is don't be dependent on a single marketplace or don't be dependent to a particular region. Try to go global because in case in future if similar kind of a situation again happens into the Indian market, you have the global market to support your sales. Now suppose if everything is happening well into the US market and Indian market is hampered because of the COVID situation. Let's take an example. So you're not generating any sales from the Indian market, but at the same time, you have US market who is supporting your company in a way by generating sales for you. So always have an alternate market for your products. If India market is not working for you, it might happen the US market will support you or else the UK market will support you. So expand your reach, make your international presence across all the locations. Second is don't be too dependent on a particular marketplace because I have come across brands, who have focused more and more on selling on Amazon. Now, what happens is suppose for any reason Amazon suspends your selling account, maybe for some customer complaints or maybe for dispatch breaches or any of the reason. So the entire business comes to a standstill. Whatever investment you have made in terms of the inventory, in terms of the advertisement, all goes in vain. So always have a backup marketplace with you in case if Amazon has suspended your account, you have backup in the form of Flipkart for you, in the form of Myntra for you, or in the form of any other portal for you. So always have this kind of backup marketplaces. Next point is diversification. So expand your portfolio. Don't limit yourself only to a particular category which you have been selling for years. For example, most of our sellers, they ventured into the sanitization category or else into the PPE kits or else into the manufacturing of face masks. And they have seen enormous growth in last 2 or 3 months because of this entire market situation. So expand your portfolio, think out of the box, think out of the actual category that you are dealing into. Look for the possible expansions that you can do across the different categories. Last is always plan for the future. See, there might be a similar sort of a situation which might happen in future as well. So always plan your supply chain properly. Always plan your inventories properly. Always keep adequate inventory with you so that in case if there's a disruption in the supply chain in the coming months as well, you have enough quantity available with you. If you have enough inventories available with you that you cater to the customer for the coming few days or coming few months. So guys, that's it for the marketplace thing for us. In case if anyone is having some sort of a question or any queries related to the marketplace selling, do let us know. I am here to address all those queries of yours. So Roshan, now you can take it forward in case if we'll be taking the questions at the end of the event, so you can take it forward with your.
Thank you, Rohit, for the session that was given to us.
Can I interpret you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. Roshan Paul is a head digital marketing brand IT and content creation at FinPlus. I tell about the brief introduction of Mr. Roshan. He having around more than 15-year experience in digital marketing branding and has successfully throughout digital strategy for companies. The example is Bombay Dyeing SR, Finswell and Renault Autographics, Samsonite, Nissan, Adidas, Indian Terrain, Hayat Group, and Fury Fueling, few names like. And he's one of the prominent, can say the speaker of in digital marketing in India. Kindly listen his view in a very detailed manner and a very useful person and resource person for the MSME fraternity. Roshan, you can start your presentation.
Thank you, Mithilesh, for that warm introduction. And thank you for having us here. We at FinPlus are very grateful to be a part of this platform and ready to help and your brands to grow ahead. I would kindly go ahead and ask for permission to please share my screen. Till we get the screen share option on, I would like to tell everybody that me and Rohit will be taking questions at the end of the session. So please stay tuned, write your questions on the chat, and at the end of the session, we will be answering each and every of your questions. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us all over here. In this time of situation, where I know that everybody has been sitting home for a while and, we have been running our businesses since home, or at least trying to run our businesses since home. What has happened in the world is that people are now become more digitally inclined. As the government of India had assumed that, we will be touching about 12 billion in 2025 in the whole digital business. However, it is now been backtracked to 2023. So we are actually ahead in the race of the digital business. And today is the right time for you to go because the culture has changed. The mentality of people have changed. So what I am going to take you through is simple 6 basic steps that are ignored from by everybody, which is necessity today for any business to grow ahead. All right. So let me start with the time is that, from the last 2 months, what we had in our hand was time. We had a lot of time, and that becomes the first priority for people when they want to invest into a digital business or even digital marketing. Let it be the social media, YouTube, Instagram. People say that, we do not have time. But this 2 months could have been utilized in a better way, and we could have planned. Even right now, the time that we have, because our businesses have not started in full-fledged, let's use this time to go ahead and utilize and make strategies for you so that you can then push ahead in your whole digital marketing business. Now, to break in short, what do you describe as digital marketing? It is nothing different than your traditional marketing, whose core responsibility is to tell the customer what your product is, how it is, take it to the right people, and then obviously, try to sell your product. The only difference that happens is rather than a physical person being involved right here, it is the digital platform, which helps you to talk about your product. Now, what makes it different from the traditional media is that in terms of traditional media, you should just put up a big hoarding and you assume that people may see your product, or you may put a newspaper ad and you assume that people may see your product. However, there was no backtracking or ROI to link back saying that so and so has seen your ad and then has come back to you. With digital, that becomes more pinpointing. The funnel is much better, more stricter, where you can target specific amount of people and then also track back saying that these customers have got it or not. Now, why is the right time for digital? Since the last 2 months, we've been sitting home. Suddenly, everybody has got looking at YouTube videos, at Facebook. People have started cooking online. The non-cooks also have become cooks online because they start seeing things on YouTube and start preparing. To pass your time, you're looking on Instagram, seeing what has done. What eventually has happened is that we have formed into a habit. It says that it takes more than 21 days to form a new habit. And it's been 2 months that we are doing social media and consuming data so much that you unknowingly digital consumption is become a habit. And how can we leverage this habit to push your brand ahead? You have to understand that you may be the best brand in the world. However, if people don't look at you, you are zero. Or you may be a mediocre brand, but if promoted in the right way, you can be equivalent to the best selling brands in the world. The next important thing that I would like to tell you right now is the mindset of people. Gone are the time, when people are going to invest into like very expensive products, or they are going to invest into things, that are like the big brand and stuff like that. Because right now, the most important thing on their head is this word safe. Everybody is going to invest into things which are related to safety. Healthcare has become the priority. However, shopping is a therapy. You know, people like shopping and that's what they're going to do, but they are going to see where their spends are going. The big brands may get hampered, however, smaller local brands may get, आपको कपड़ा चाहिए at the end of the day. You need a t-shirt. India is a country of festivals. The festivals are coming very soon. So you will shop for new clothes, you will shop for new shoes, you will shop for new utensils, or you will shop for things that are necessary. But the spending is gone less. People are becoming more inclined towards spending lesser amount because healthcare becomes important and safety is the most important word in their head. So how do we use this word safe in the whole digital marketing strategy? When we broke down the word safe in digital marketing strategy, what we have come back to say is that safety is nothing but strategic advertising for the e-customer. That's how we define the word safe. Because everybody is talking about it, we say, why not use it in digital marketing? What we mean to say by this is that find your right customer, go to him, show him what he wants, and then plug in your product rather than just telling him, listen, hey, this is my product, why don't you buy? He's not going to be interested in it. You have to get him on his turf, on the place that he's there, in the interest that he is there, and see how you can plug in your product. That's how you will get interested. Remember, today's customer has the choice to not look at you. He can unfollow you, he can block you. It's not no longer forceful advertising. So how do we keep him interested is where the word safe comes in. How do we strategically advertise about him, about what he wants, and show him things that we want? Now, keeping that into figure, we have put in down 6 pointers, which I think is necessary for every brand with all the experience that we had, and with also the brands that we are currently working with FinPlus. With FinPlus, we work around with 300 plus brands, and right from categories from food, clothing, manufacturing. There are so many manufacturing people, who want to start a retail brand. There are so many people who have always been a B2B supplier, but now want to go direct to consumers. So keeping all that in consideration, what we have done is we have put down 6 points that we think are necessary for every brands that at we have worked with in the past, currently that we are working, and we have seen them being successful. And we have put down 6 pointers that I think are necessary for every brand to follow right now. The first most important thing is create your online presence. This is the first Bible word that has to go follow. If you are not present online, you are nowhere. Listen, today, gone are the time, when you used to give a visiting card and tell him that, listen, dude, this is my address, ये मेरा office है, मेरे office में 25 जन काम करते हैं, and I've got things in my office and this and that. Gone are those days. Today, your new operation address is Facebook, your street address is Instagram, and the city that you live in is Twitter. If you start believing like that, that's how your business will change, because that's how people are looking at your business right now. Your shopping complex or your shop today is an online shop and no longer a physical shop. That's how digitization will help you. From the past one, if we can use the next 1 month or the last 1 month, what first thing you do is, if you are not present on an online category or on an online profile, go ahead and create an online identity. It can be as small as starting your own Facebook page, starting your own LinkedIn page. We've gone ahead and done this for brands in a day. They are brands which have been active since the last 3 years. However, when they wanted to go into a franchisee selling business, they realized that no one was looking at them. And when we did an audit, we came to know that there was no strong enough of LinkedIn profile for them, because today anybody who wants to invest into a business will first go and read about it on LinkedIn. We created a LinkedIn page for certain brands with the right amount of information, the number of employees they have, some case studies, and the brand started seeing calls for franchisees. Similarly, there were brands which were offline and had stores from a long time, and they just created one Facebook page thinking that, everybody is doing it, let's us also do. When we did an analytics with that brand, we realized how his core customer was present on Instagram, and we made sure that they got present on Instagram with the right place and the right things. These small things about going to the right platform, identifying what is right, and then creating your presence there is the first core basic thing that we all need to do. The second thing that you do is, now you have brought that guy to your home. Your online platform or your Facebook is nothing more than a house. Now, when you call a guest in your house, if there are no talking pieces in your house, if your furniture is not interesting enough, if the painting on the wall is not interesting enough, your guest will get bored in your house. Please treat your online platform exactly the same way. The so the small things like the painting which make people talk about it, or the dining table, or that small showpiece that you have that everybody comes and look at it, is nothing but a content on your page. We need to create this conversation talkers, so that they are there on your page, so that people come and start looking for it. Remember, hardcore selling right now is not the way. You can push that guy and say, hey, listen, this is my product, buy it. Hey, listen, this is my product, buy it. He will do it once, he will do it twice, and then after that he'll run away. The most important thing right now is to keep him to your page. And how do you do it? Is by posting content that he's interested in, so that then he can come back and keep looking for it. I'll give you a small example of a very classic brand which is called John Deere. So John Deere sells tractors. How many of us buy tractors in a lifetime? Because those tractors are so well made that you just need to buy one tractor a day. However, they wanted to make sure that they have enough of social audiences coming to them. And the only way they did that is not to talk about tractors. They went and they told their consumer was a farmer. Today, the farmer wants to know, what is the weather, what is the seeds, is there a drought coming? Is there any new government policy? Rather than the farmer going everywhere, John Deere started posting them on their social media platform. Suddenly, the farmer, whenever required anything regarding to farming, which is his interest, whether it is to know the weather or the price of seeds, he would go to their own social media and see it over there. Like that, they developed a sort of a loyalty for the customer. The next time he wanted to buy a tractor, he would obviously think of John Deere the first, and then everybody else. Also, the second thing is, please stop talking in words, because today a picture is more powerful than words. How do you visually represent your own brand, with the right flow chart, with the right infographic? That's how you can then make it available, for your brand, and that keeps him reading. Remember, he's going to scroll you up if there is too much of words. How you break your business in pictures will make him stay on your page and see it. And the most important thing right now, which everybody is doing is to create content, is using influencer marketing. Now, what are influencers? It's a very highly used space. But if I have to break it down, influencers are nothing but a brand ambassador for your brand. The only difference is that these are not paid celebrities. Like Shah Rukh Khan comes and says that I use Lux Sabun, or Salman Khan says that मैं dollar का बनियान पहनता हूँ. But everybody knows in our head that Shah Rukh Khan does not use Lux Sabun and Salman Khan does not use dollar ka banyan. That's when, because these influencers come in, they are real people. What they do is use these brands and they give real feedback about it. So you have women who use a face wash and give you a real feedback about it. That's how they become influencers. So the trust factor with the customer increases compared to a Shah Rukh Khan and a Salman Khan saying that मैं बनियान पहनता हूँ. You'll actually have a normal guy who goes to a gym who says मैं ये बनियान पहनता हूँ. You will believe him more, and you see him that he's working out in the gym and the banyan is sustaining him. So that's how using the right influencer is very important. And these influencers come with their own set of following. So automatically, when you tie up with an influencer to use your product, the 100 people that are following that influencer start following your product. It is the easiest way to get the right amount of audience. It's also the cheapest way compared to getting a Shah Rukh Khan and paying him 2 crores and getting a Salman Khan. Influencers work on a many kind of system. Like we launched a brand, a salon brand in India. They were the premier salon brand in Spanish. And when they came to us for for 2 months, the only thing we did is we got every fashion influencer coming to their salon. We did a tie-up with them where it was purely on a barter system, and we gave them free services in the salon. What the influencer did is put up videos of their services on online platform, and in a month's time we seen the number of followers on their online platform have an increase of 150% month on month. Even their walk-ins in the first month were like 2 of them. The next week, sorry, the first week were 2, the next week were 15, the week after that was 48, and today they've got 150% walk-in that comes in. Now, this purely happened on an influencer brand is because that's how the tie-up or that's how strong influencers are. And people want to see these influencers. They are a content-driven market. Imagine if you are selling a food product and if you do a tie-up with an influencer who is doing cooking videos, and we tell them when you cook your video, use your product. So like that, people who are interested in food, interested in the recipe, and automatically start seeing your product and seeing what the influencer has made with your product. So that's how influencer marketing works. There are many more other case studies, and we would be glad to share it with you whenever you get in touch with us. The next one is the third important part is what even Rohit touched upon is how to make your products online safe. India is a touch and feel company. Okay, we are like that. I don't call India a country, we call India a company because that's how we are. We are so diverse. We look at everything with seeing profit and loss. That's how the Indian thing is. 2 years back, when I would want to buy a shoe, I would walk into a shoe store, try the shoes first, then go back online and see whether I would get the shoe cheaper or no, and then buy it. Maybe it may still happen. However, keeping in the current scenario, I know that I cannot go out and try a shoe, but I will want to find a cheaper deal. So how do you make sure that the customer knows what you are doing is by giving your product a proper online treatment? How do you do that? First, start doing videos. Try to show them about your product, how much you can in a video. तुम्हारा product दिखता कैसा है? What is the size and shape of the product? How is the product made? Today, the customer wants to be a part of the product. So take him to your factory. Make videos on your factory of how your product is made. Show them how the R&D process is. Show them the people working in your factory because people feel proud about it. Make your product in such a way that the customer does not need to pick up the phone and then talk to you saying that, sir, I'll give you another example. Recently, I brought, because I've been home and we are not allowed maids. I think everybody has that own issue right now. I brought one broom, which is this automatic rotor broom. And I spent 1,000 rupees on that broom. But what I loved about it is the amount of tutorials they had on YouTube, which allows the person to see of how to use the broom. With that, my confidence of buying that broom became more better, and I brought that broom and I used it, and today I'm mopping my floor till my maid comes back. So that's how it made my life, it made the video proof for me. The product became more acceptable. I was more comfortable buying the product. So that's the reality of it. The more you teach the customer about your product, how to use it, if it gets broken down, how to troubleshoot it, what things you can do. Again, giving the same example, if you have making a tomato ketchup, make a video of how you can use that tomato ketchup in different kind of food. How do you store it? Like that, the customer gets involved rather than just saying that I make a tomato ketchup and my tomatoes are good. So making your product online proof is the right thing right now. Take him to the process, show him your R&D, show him your facility, show him your manufacturing, show him how you're saving the environment, how sustainable you are, and that's how the product starts then becoming more acceptable. The second last thing that I would touch upon is promote your content. Now, I started my webinar with saying that, you may be the best brand in the world, but if people does not see you, it doesn't make sense. That's what exactly I'm going to touch point over here. People believe that हम लोग ने एक social media page बनाया, उस पे एक post डाल दिया, and then the whole world will come and see us. It is not true. Remember, आप जो सोच रहे हो, there are 100 more people thinking the same thing in the exact second. So how do you make sure that you stand out from that clutter? Is using small strategic promotions. Again, in traditional media, हम लोग जब मीडिया बोलते हैं, we think about big numbers, लाख रुपया, 2 लाख रुपया हमको खर्चा करना पड़ेगा. It's not that. Digital is the most cheapest platform. You can get a good promotion done for as less as 5,000 rupees a month, which is nothing more than a dinner that you go with your family. However, that 5,000 rupees, if spent in the right way, can get 50,000 people looking at your product. So but it is necessary for that 5,000 is because that 5,000 is your jump start to make sure that you are seen among the other people. Now, there are different ways to do it. You either do it by Facebook ad, you do it by Instagram, you do it by Google check ads, you do it by display ads, you do it by YouTube roles. That totally depends upon the audit of your brand, what is your necessity, who is your consumer, and what we go. In the past times, in the last 1 year, we have launched about 30 brands online, and we realized that most of them only required very few amount of money, on an average like 10,000 rupees, to be spent on Instagram, which brought customers to them and at least brought 50,000 traffic on their website. So that's how much you require to, promote your brand. But promotion is necessary, because promotion is rocket fuel for you to launch in space. Once you are in space, then you can keep orbiting, and then it becomes an affair which goes round and round. So the key word over here is that it is not a spend, it is an investment. If you start looking at it at that point of view, that's when you start seeing ROI. SEO is a must. I'll give you a very short example over here. I think everybody has present over here today has heard about Neil Kamal chairs. I have never seen an advertising for Neil Kamal chairs. However, everybody knows about it. The reason they know about it is because they have used a very strategic tool which is called as SEO. Now, SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's 3 words, but can do threefold wonders to your brand. In short, what does it do? It tags your content with specific information that the customer is searching, so that you are shown ahead. Now, that became the technical part of it. If I have to break down in the layman part of it, today, if you see any new brand, आपको कुछ भी नया खरीदना है, the first thing you do is go and write on Google, I want to buy a new phone, or which is the best phone. Google automatically sees who is there who is selling a phone and start showing you ahead. However, there are 10,000 people who are searching a phone. So how will Google identify कि किसको ऊपर बताऊं और किसको नीचे बताऊं? Google then sees how many people have come and seen your website, how many people have been relevant on your website, and then start showing you ahead and ahead. And statistics say that whenever you search anything on Google, you don't go beyond 3 pages. आप 3 पेज देखते हो, उसके बाद then you don't see anything. आपको आपका information या जो भी आप ढूंढ रहे हो पहले 3 पेज में मिल जाता है. So the most important thing is you come on the first 3 pages. Now that happens through SEO. If you start tagging your products with information that the customer is searching, so that Google understands that it is there on your website, you keep keeping higher and higher and ranking. Now, what this does is starts helping you to sell without putting spends. It is purely an effort. It's not spends, but it's a continuous effort. It's a slow process. SEO is like a bacha. जब when a small kid is born, आप उसको पहले दिन ही पनीर नहीं खिलाते हो. You start with दाल का पानी. Then you go ahead and you khilao him doodh, and slowly, and then the kid becomes healthier and healthier to a status where the kid is very healthy, becomes strong, and then can sustain. That's how SEO is. SEO has to be fed inside your brand like a small kid. Start with small steps. It's a small, it is a job of patience, but after 3 months, 6 months of time, you will actually start seeing the returns of it, because the child is grown, the plant is grown, and that's when you start gaining fruit. So SEO is a must for brands. People shy out from it, and I tell them that don't invest in Facebook first invest in SEO, because this is what is your base building block for all your brands. And the last thing that in this presentation is obviously making your asset touch responsive. Now, after doing all this drama that we've done, if the customer cannot see this drama, then it is a flop show. Today, I don't know the amount of people that are present with us on this presentation, but I see the list of participants, and 85% of them are looking at this through a mobile phone, which actually gives you an information how mobile has become a one screen device for all of us. Now, if mobile has become such an important thing, why are you leaving mobile behind in your business? Make your website mobile responsive. Make sure that everything that you do, even the small poster that you do, can be seen on a mobile phone or can be seen on a WhatsApp screen without zooming. That's what I mean to say. If we make it more people friendly, you have to make your asset mobile responsive, is because mobile is the future. It is not, it is already there living. It is right now at 85%, we maybe become 100%. Everybody will start using mobile for everything. So make sure that everything you have to do is very mobile centric, which starts with the smallest thing. आप एक जब ad बनाते हो, उसमें 100 चीजें मत लिखो, खाली 10 चीजें लिखो जो मोबाइल पे बड़े बड़े दिखे, क्योंकि आप जब 100 चीज लिखते हो it is very small, then you have to zoom and see it, which then, you know, breaks the customer away. So make everything mobile friendly, make everything responsive. That's how whatever you do will be seen ahead. Okay. Now, these were the long time things. Since we are talking right now, in the next, say, 1 month, what can you do? You know, because what I have told you is what we can keep doing. You know, it's a mantra. But however, if you tell me, अगले एक महीने में मैं क्या करूं that I go ahead, that are some things that I want to discuss. The first thing that you do is, you know, sit with your team, sit with, if you have an agency, you know, sit with them. If you don't have one, search for one. Make sure that they understand the business the way they should do. Sit with them and decide, okay, what are the videos that we are going to make? Because ये आपके पास जो अभी time है, ये कभी वापस नहीं आने वाला है. You know, once your business starts running in full fledged, again this whole thing will go in a back burner, because हमारा सबसे important, you know, idea यही रहता है कि I have to go and make sure that my operations are running right. So right now, it's the time is because your business is not reached full fledged. Discuss upon what is the thing. You know, think about your strategies. आप आपका 3 महीने का कैलेंडर बना दो कि अगले 3 महीने में what I have to do digital. Think how many people are there, you know, who are sitting and looking into the festivals. Now we are going to have Ganesh Chaturthi, we are going to have Navratri. So make a calendar saying that during that time, what are the things that I have to do to attain that kind of sales? Use this time of that. Okay, map your content strategy, get your PR material revised. When I mean to say PR material, what your company does, the number of people working in your company, any case studies, any press that you have got, everything, get all that ready so that you can put it online and make it ready for people to consume it. Get investment into SEO right now. Get an analytic agency to make sure that they do analysis of your website. Get a Google Analytic password done and read your website. See how many people are coming to your website right now, where they are going, which page they are spending more time. If you do not have an agency, please get an SEO agency on board. It takes like, we normally take a day for, you know, to get an audit done and send it to the customer, but it helps. That audit will help you to understand that where are you facing issues on your website. People may be coming to your website, but if your website is not opening, they may be going back. People may be coming only to one specific page of your website, or people may be looking at only one product. Then why waste your energy on 10 other products? Remove those 10 other products. Make sure you only show one product. So invest this time, do that strategy right now so that you can get your plans ready for the next thing. And yeah, paid marketing. If you have paid marketing going on right now, stop it. Okay, pause it, analyze it, you know, how much I've spent, where I've spent, and then make your new strategies. Talk to your people from your marketing team and see how you can make a new strategy for your paid marketing. And at the brand level, what you should really focus right now is how you create an emotion for the brand. We as India, we can sell two things. One is sports, which is cricket, and second is emotion. How do you put an emotional connect to your brand is very important. Today, you know, if there is something happening, the millennials want to show their support to any brand by giving a thumbs up button on Facebook. You know, that's what we are. Humko, if we want to protest against something, we'll show a thumbs up. If we like something, we'll show a thumbs up. But that's emotion. So how do you develop an emotion to your brand? Think about that. Think about, I'll give you another example. So we worked with one brand and we realized that they were creating their products by using the underprivileged women from a society, and everything that they sold, the women in the society got better life. By highlighting that, the brand sold more because everybody wanted to be a part of that better life. So use that as an emotional connect to sell it and also improve your society right now. That's what I think, and you should redesign. So this is with my part of the presentation. I would first apologize to everybody that our next member who was going to present has, due to some technical reason, could not come into this presentation. However, I will be glad to take you all around through his session, which is how do you make your build your website and why is your website necessary?
Thank you, Mr. Roshan. In fact, Roshan, this was one of the best presentation that I have seen in digital marketing so far, and it was very luminous presentation and talk. You have really gone into depth of it, and some of the words like e-customer and all, that we keep doing in our daily life. But I mean, these are some of things, and even 21 days, the habit, psychologically makes a habit in 21 days, and we have been in lockdown for now more than 70 days. I think that you have given a very deep, very impressive perspective on digital marketing, which will certainly help all the people who have joined here. Before you go further on to your next presentation, I'll also tell you that Mr. Dev Goyal, who could not join earlier, he's the chair of our MSME committee. He has also joined, and we have also here Mr. Vivek Agrawala. He's the chairman of Africa committee. His brand is also popular in Africa and all. So he will also interact with you sometime later. But let me thank you for your brilliant presentation, Roshan. So you may please go ahead with the next presentation if you have that.
Dr. Mehta, I would, with your permission, can I add a few words? Maybe later on. Yeah.
Please.
It was not only very insightful, I think it is a very helpful program today. The way Mr. Roshan Paul has gone about explaining the in-depth of digital marketing is a real asset. And one thing I would like to mention here, during this lockdown period, what we have seen, PhD chamber has emerged from a physical chamber into actually a digital platform. The kind of programs the chamber has done in the last 3 months, it is not only praiseworthy, it is something people to emulate. The chamber has created a virtual energetic platform where the ministers, where global forum, the heads of global countries have participated, and it is very encouraging. And I think with the insight of what Mr. Roshan Paul and the earlier speaker, Mr. Rohit Pawar said, if we integrate, this is the time to take it forward. Thank you. Let's go on. I'm keen to hear more.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. In fact, thank you. You rightly said. I mean, even like we will definitely talk even for the branding of the PhD to FinPlus, who have been so brilliant on this.
In fact, I would like to, post program, let's connect offline. I would like to participate with programs of FinPlus more deeply, and we can explore what we can do together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Agrawal.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal, for those kind words. I won't, for the next part, take too much of time because I understand that it's being lunch and, hunger is the most important thing right now. Okay. Let me go ahead and start one small presentation which is made by my colleague. I apologize again that he's not been here due to some technical reasons however, I'm glad to take you through his presentation. So this presentation is made by my colleague Viraj, who heads the web asset development for our company, and he comes with immense amount of experience, more than 8+ years in developing strategies for how do you build your website. Let me start this presentation of what is a website today. In the pre-COVID world, what we used to do is hire one salesman. That salesman used to go door to door and start selling a product and taking one book and telling him, sir, this is my company, this is my product, this is how you go, and he keeps going from here to there. And then when a customer wants to buy a product, he then goes to a store and says, okay, let me see this product, let me see that product. Also, the customer may not come because the working hours of that store are different and things like that. However, post-COVID, things have changed. Today, I will be scared to get a salesman near to me telling me what the product is because I'm scared of the infection that I may get through. I may be scared to even go to a store because I think I don't know the number of people that have gone to the store and have touched my things, and it may become really bad. So in short, what is your website? Your website is a salesman that talks to every single customer in the world and tells them about your product. Besides that, it's also a store that the customer can go 24/7 and buy any product that he wants and the experience that he wants at his convenience. He is no longer bound to time. He is no longer bound to language. He is no longer bound to the amount of things or the geography it is. In short, geography is now a history. We don't look at where we are. It's history. You know, wherever we are present, the store comes to you. That's what the website is. Now, if I have to break this website into three different kind of websites, let me address the necessity of those three different kinds of websites. The first necessity is if I am selling something and the customer wants to look at my services. However, I don't have a product that I sell on the website. I can be an architect. I can be an interior designer. I can be a doctor. I can even be a salon or a spa or a thing which is physically there. There is no product that you are selling online, but it's a service, or you are telling them to come to a specific area to enjoy that place. So what does the website help in that part of it? There the website helps to tell about your services, tell about what you do, how you offer, even give them a small case study, a small walkthrough to your website. Nowadays you have websites which can create a virtual store which you can take a walk around through your store. If you're an architect or an interior designer, we have worked with specific architects and interior designers where we help them to showcase a 3D model of their website on the stores. Now these websites are infographic or information websites. That's how we technically term them, which gives you information, however does not do any selling as per se. These websites are 100% SEO, so you can use all the things that I told you initially for that. So that is the first kind of website. Now we have done this for a brand. I would like to share a small case study with it. So this is a brand that we work on. They are called as Jean-Claude Olivier. They are a Spanish chain which came to India, and they came to us 3 days before they wanted to launch their brand. And what we told them is that, because you are a service that are inviting people to come to your store, the first thing that you do is build your website. We built their website, we put all their services, put videos on their services, and made sure that it's a new visiting card which went. Every section of theirs was built into there. We also put a lot of competition analysis, understood what are the people looking in that kind of sector. Now when I say people looking, we as customers have a certain mindset. For example, if I tell you that you have to buy a washing soap, you will see a washing soap which has the color green and white and blue, because in our head washing soap is Arial. So everything that looks closer to an Arial color, automatically you start looking at it as washing soap. Or everything that is a liquid which is orange in color, you start looking at it as Tide, because that's how we are. We perceive things based upon the color. That is the reason even today we do not call mineral water, we call it Bristlery, because Bristlery was the first person to give water. So that's how we take these assumptions and then understand that in that sector what are people looking, and build a website for them to be familiar with. It has to be familiar. You cannot go ahead and build an alienated website only because you like it. It has to be customer centric. They have to be familiar to use it. Tomorrow if I have to build a marketplace, it has to look like an Amazon, because the customer is used to using an Amazon. If I go and I build any new structure, it may be the best, even better than Amazon, but people won't use it, is because they are used to. So if they are used to something, how do you leverage that and make it your own? So that is the first kind of website that we built for them, which is an information based. Now with this website, what happened? We seen 150% growth of footfalls. We seen their website traffic increase by 154% month on month. Even right now, we seen their bounce rate reduce every month. So now when you say bounce rate, it's about people coming to the website, they like it and they go back. Keeping that web guy on your website for more than 1 minute is your first aim, because he needs at least that much to read your website. Otherwise, someone will say, I build a nice website, people come, but how many people stay in your website? That is important. How many people read about it? That's important. So how do you make them read is on the UI and the UX of the website. And we seen that we brought it down to only 7%. That means if 100 people came on their website, only 7% of them closed the website before 1 minute. Everybody stayed and read about their brand more. So that was a thing. We used a lot of social handles to increase their website by organic visits by 170%. Now this became the first kind of website where you are a service and you are selling. The second kind of website is where you have a product and you want to sell it online. A physical product. It can be right from a mug to right now sanitizer. Everybody is selling a sanitizer online. So for that kind of website, we call it an e-commerce website in which a person can go and buy it. The very important thing in an e-commerce website you have to understand is that the customer is giving his money to you. Okay, and he wants to make sure that his money is going safely in a website. His credit card details are not being robbed, because today, though the world has become digital, even the crimes are becoming digital. So how to make sure that his data is safe? So that's how we go ahead and build a website with a platform. Like the platform that we expertise in is Magento 2.0, which is the latest platform, and we've developed over 30 plus websites with Magento. And till now, we have never faced a problem with security. Also, Magento helps you to push the product in a more friendly way, display images and videos of your product so that the customer see. It's also a platform where you can directly sell it, buy it, add it in your cart, put a value and sell it. There is a premium brand that we work with, which is called as Cello. They are, you must have seen them. They make into plastic Tupperware and pens and all. So when we developed their website in a month's time, and today 60% of their sales are on their website, is because of the friendliness of their website. Now, having said that, is the third kind of website where you are selling, plus also you are into a B2B business. For example, you may be selling a product, but आपको franchisee भी देना है लोगों को. Like you want to make sure that you get more franchisees. Now, how does that franchisee guy come to you? He comes to you when he reads about your company. So we make a mixture of a website which has selling and has information about your website. We call that an hybrid website. There is a brand which is brand ambassador Pariniti Chopra and all who are there, a part of it, which is Rox. Now, Rox is one of our clients whom we designed a full-fledged website. What is so beautiful about this website is that Rox has 15 different warehouses in all over India. So when we developed it, we wrote a program in which that person, if I'm in Delhi and if I order something, it will automatically see which is the nearest warehouse in Delhi or near Delhi, and will ship the product from there to the customer so that the customer gets it faster. Also, the product is quickly available and your experience increases. Keeping that into picture, we also made sure we take in trade inquiries on this website, and also their own traders would look at their stock integration over here. It was a very complex program to be built with, and today more than 100 of their employees, not employees per se, like retailers, are using this website to keep their stock. So this became the complex version of your website. So to sum it up, there are three different kinds of websites. One is a showcase website, one is a selling website, and one is a hybrid which does the part of two. What we would recommend with our experience is go to a platform which is more stable, like Magento. You may look at it that, why will I spend so much of money on building a Magento? Remember that today you may build a cheap website. After 2 years, that website is redundant. 2 साल के बाद, again you have to put another 2 lakh rupiya to build a website. Ultimately, at the end of 5 years, you have spent more money on your website than you could have just done in the first time, which would have been just 30% of the actual full cost. So I would say invest into a stable program which is scalable, for like what we use, Magento, which is scalable for the next 10 years. So for the next 10 years, you are not keep on putting more and more money on your website. Build a website that you can handle so that you are not piggybacked on somebody else to do your work. नहीं तो आप वेबसाइट बांधोगे और बार बार मेरे पास आओगे कुछ भी करेक्शन करने के लिए, and that's a खर्चा for you. So why not build a website and in with a CRM so that you can handle it yourself, which saves your money, and build it SEO and digital proof. That's how I would like to end my statement. We are open for questions right now. We can go ahead and take questions for the session.
Thank you. You may questions. You may either post it or raise your hand. We will unmute you and ask your question. Yeah, Mr. Agrawal, please.
I would
please ask your question.
This is a question addressed to Mr. Roshan Paul. Mr. Paul, typically on a platform of Magento, a hybrid website, what should it cost roughly? What is the ballpark figures?
Mr. Agrawal, normally with a Magento platform, the amount of coding that you do for a basic website, which has about say 100 products and has two marketplaces and all information, it we as an there people have a different charge and all that, but we look at it as an optimum, and we as an agency charge about anything starting from 1.5 lakh and onwards. However, you should understand that that 1.5 lakh is scalable for the next 10 years. There are cheaper platforms who will build a website for 80,000, but then after 2 years that 80,000 is redundant, and after 2 years you'll end up spending another 80,000, and after 2 years another 80,000. So 6 years down the line you have spent 6 lakh rupees on your website, compared to you putting a one-time charge of a 1.5 lakh, which sustains you for the next 10 years. So that's how much a Magento cost. Also, Magento is the latest platform, and it is used by the likes of Myntra and things. They have been certified by HP and Microsoft and stuff like that. So it is a very stable platform, and it gives you enough amount of leverage to go ahead.
Is this platform good enough to create a sort of an e-marketplace?
It is one of the best platform available today to create an e-marketplace.
When I say e-marketplace, I refer to, you see, e-marketplace is where you can just simply go and buy. But what about a platform where we can have interactive price quotations? Like for instance, there are 5 or 6 manufacturers. They put in the prices of the platform. There can be a price comparison, and the buyer, he comes and interacts with the prices. Is this kind of a platform possible, Magento?
Yes. So Magento is a base, and you have to custom code it to your liking. So Magento is a language. It's how we code it. We have gone ahead and created a website which we call it as a marketplace, where there is a specific product sold by 5 different people are there, and 5 different rates are there, and based upon the customer's request he can choose whom he wants to buy it on his convenience. So that is there. We call it as a buy box setting for the website. So Magento is a language which we use to buy it, and it is possible. Most of these auction websites, like the way I would tell you, use this kind of platform which is developed on Magento. Rohit, there is a question for you. It says, what international marketplaces is available on the fashion category?
First of all, I'll recommend to start with Amazon.com to be, to test the market, to test your product, how it is performing into the international market, because Amazon.com has a worldwide user base. It is serving to the customers in US, it is serving to the customers in UK, serving to some parts of India as well. So, it is a better option to start with Amazon.com to be say on the safer side. Look at the response, how you're getting, how a customer is responding to your product line, from what region you are getting enough orders. Post that, you can think about expanding to the other marketplaces. So obviously there are other portals as well apart from .com, but to begin with, that is the portal I'll always recommend to start with. Based on the data that you gather on this particular portal, you can think about expanding to the rest of the portals, but then depends upon from what geographical location you are receiving more orders. Based on that, we can think about expanding to the other portals.
Mr. Ram Gopal has given me a question saying that how do you rate Build Bazaar, and is it good for a startup? Okay, Mr. Sista, thank you for being online first. Build Bazaar is a closed platform. In the sense, it is good for a startup. However, again, I would reiterate, Build Bazaar is almost like a Shopify, where you are giving them, they build it for you really cheap in the start. However, after 1 year, they are recurring fees. That means you have to keep pushing in money again and again after year, because it's not owned by you. So initially you may think it is a cheaper option, but when you go and see the year-on-year money that you are spending on that website, you'll end up spending more money on that than owning your own website. Secondly, because it's a closed platform, you will not be able to do marketing from a third-party agency. Like if you want me to do your SEO, I cannot do it on that, because Build Bazaar is a closed platform. The way they make their money is by making sure that they lock everything so that you can only take services from them. So that's how then they force you to take their services, which are more expensive than the normal services available everywhere. So the initial investment looks smaller, but in the long run, by taking all their services and packages, you'll end up spending more than owning your own website. So I would rather suggest you invest into your own website, which is your platform, and do the way you want it. Ultimately, it's your business. Why would you give your hand of your business to somebody else who is managing your platform? You take it, run it on your own. It's that little 50,000 extra investment will help you to have your own platform and develop it on your own. Rohit, you have a question which says, what is the best marketplace for apparel category?
Okay, for apparel category, I'll recommend the best marketplace in India right now will be obviously Myntra, because each and every brand wants to be listed on Myntra. So Myntra would be the top on the chart for the apparels category. Post Myntra, if I tell you another portals, then obviously Amazon, Flipkart becomes the automatic choice because of their wide reach that they have. Then we have portals like LimeRoad, who are again doing good in the apparels category. And if then there are portals like Ajio, Tata Click as well, or else Nykaa Fashion, which are not that price sensitive. People are ready to pay higher for the products on this kind of portal. So if you are dealing into premium sort of a apparels or a designer sort of an apparels, then yes, Nykaa Fashions would be one, Ajio would be another one, Tata Click for these portals. But the best portal I'll recommend is Myntra to begin.
Okay. So we do not have any more questions. So Roshan, I would now I'll request Mr. Goyal to give his concluding remarks. But at the same time, if we get any more questions, then you can answer. Anybody can answer. Is that okay?
Yeah, there's a question which says, how do you adding my businesses to local directories help my SEO business? Thank you, Mr. Jain, for asking this question. What does local directories do is actually push. You have to understand that Google identifies your website is relevant or no by the number of people coming to your website. Now, when you put your information on local directories, people start seeing about you and start clicking and coming to your website, which automatically helps the increasing the ranking of your website, which means ultimately you come on the first 3 pages of Google, which will get you business. So yes, putting on local directories do helps you in your SEO business. Okay, okay, and there's another question from Urvashi. It says, since there are so many digital marketing providers in the market, how do we choose the right one? To check that we as clients should be evaluating the reports that are hired DM providers. What is the least cost in the budget? Okay. Thank you, Urvashi, for this question. Yes, there are a lot of people who are doing digital marketing. What I would like to tell you is, first look at their credentials. Don't look at the credentials of the company, is because the company may be newly formed or maybe an old company. Look at the credential of the person working on your brand, because ultimately it is them who is going to develop your brand. See whether that person has an experience in your category, even, or a competition category or a closest category. It may be highly impossible sometime to have somebody in the same category. If not, even in the closest category, please also look upon, tell them to make a rough mock-up for your brand. I think that is the best thing. You give them a small brief and tell them, this is what my brand is. Can you make one sample and show me? Or can you do an analysis of my brand? Like that, you will understand whether they have understood your brand, which will help you to get an agency on board. Like whenever we get new clients, we actually go into a complete audit of a brand and we show them a way forward for the brand and tell them that this is what you should do. This is what your competition is doing, this is what you have been doing since the last time, and show them a 3 months ka plan, which helps them to evaluate whether to go ahead with us, whether to not go ahead with us. Most of the time it gets through is because we take time to make our evaluation, and we've got a success ratio of 90%. I'm sorry about telling about that, but yes, that helps. Now, when you say evaluating your reports, the first couple of times that you get a report, please sit with that person and understand what is written in the report, because this is a very classic example. Agencies make a report and send it to the client because they also know that the client won't understand it. The client looks at it at very topical uppar ka, and then says, okay, theek hai, good. First, sit with the agency and understand what they are writing in the report, and the each and every segment, at least for the first 2-3 times, so that you can start reading that report of your own. If you cannot read that report, then what is the point of the whole report? So that's what it is. When I say cost and a budget, it totally depends. Like I can't tell about other brands, but yes, for brands that we work on, we start with something on the lines of about 30,000 per month to run a social media platform for Instagram and Facebook. There are some brands that do it cheaper. There are some brands that do it expensive, but this is normally what we charge to the customer.
Roshan, I would request Spardha ma'am to give a vote of thanks. So, ma'am.
There are a couple of questions which are come.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Before
you can
that,
take the questions.
Some point. After that, you can ask Ms. Jan to give the vote of thanks. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Question here: how does one shift from A for Build Bazaar and move to Magento based on site? How would I shift the client base?
They are completely two different platforms which are there. So again, when you're going on a Magento, you have to redo the whole website completely on Magento. However, we can pick up information and data and images from a Build Bazaar and then develop it. Build Bazaar does not share. I told you it's a closed platform. It does not share information which you can pick up and build it into a Magento. So that is the only way out, that you have to build the complete website from scratch, but you can pick up data from here and put it. 30% of your work becomes shorter because of that. Mr. Goyal, you can please go ahead.
Indeed, and wonderful session. Now I will request Mr. Dev Goyal, who is the chairman of our MSME committee, to give some summing up remarks for this session. After that, we will invite Ms. Spardha Jain for the vote of thanks. Haji Goyal sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta. First of all, I feel very sorry for being very late, as I was not able to connect right in the beginning. I heard FinPlus people, Mr. Rohit Pawar and Mr. Roshan Paul. Very, very enlightening talk, very, very informative, and I think they are related to today's situation. I can find that you have to be 1+ than your competitors if you have to survive in the market. And that is something very, very important. We have learned it. We are from the engineering background. We are not in the consumer market. If I tell about my experience of last 3 months, with a strength of about 30% people, we have done a business of more than 50%. And it is growing. Now, worst of the situations gives you the best of opportunity to think, invent, and reinvent. What we have found in this time is, earlier, as Mr. Roshan Paul said, that people used to go from door to door to sell their product, the salesman version. Today it is a digital version. Now, what we find is that during this time, when social distancing is being maintained, people are not allowed to go and meet one-to-one. So decisions are being taken on the digital platforms. Offers are being submitted, discussions are being held on the Zoom TV or video conferencing, and presentation of the product is also done on the video, which was earlier not there. If I tell you correctly, if I had a meeting in Mumbai, so a person will go from Delhi to Mumbai for a day, spend the whole day there, work for half an hour to 1 hour and come back. Now this work is being done through video conferencing. A lot of time wastage which was earlier there. There is a lot of saving on the time, energy and money, and results are pouring in, because if you look at the inspection part of the engineering products also, they are also being done now digitally. We have designed an app. On the app, we give all the data to the concerned engineers sitting in their place in Varanasi or in Guwahati. They see the entire product in the factory on the video conferencing, do the testing, pass on the instructions, see the result for themselves, and clear the product. So these situations which have come up due to Corona is taking us into a altogether new world, and we are able to get a good product, get a good result, get a good efficient working in less amount of time, in less amount of spending money, and the time should spend more time with the family. So people are becoming more social, more family oriented. And this is what I feel that digital marketing is the only way out for all time to come. And I think people who are getting ready for it, they will have no dearth of business. And I find FinPlus people, FinPlus team, who has given a very enlightening talk on this subject, is very, very useful for everybody to understand and adopt. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you that you have given the engineering products, how you have been able to digitally sell and get your products approved from various vendors. That's wonderful. And Mr. Agrawala, would you like to make any point? And we go for the vote of thanks since we are running out of time.
I quite agree with Dev.
Dr. Matthew, sorry to disturb. I would just like to tell everybody that we've actually got a couple of questions which are there. However, due to the shortage of time, we won't be able to answer all of it here. So I have shared my email address and my contact details on the chat section. You all can please be free to us, call back or write to us so that we can answer all your questions. We'll be more than happy to help make an Atmanirbhar India and, try to, take everybody as much as digital. Yeah. India sounds better. Right. Also, you all can go ahead and visit our website, which is finplus.co.in, and read about us and see different case studies that we have put over there and how we have helped brands grow. And we will be more than happy to help your brand grow the way you would like to.
Sure, Mr.
No, I quite agree with Dev Goyalji. The future is digital. And the way we are going about things post-corona, if we are not digitally present, businesses will not really happen. And especially for the basic items, certain items, they don't need a feel. You just need to see them on the video as a repetitive item. So the way forward is digital, and with FinPlus and with PhD Chamber of Commerce, together, I'm sure we can take this to much greater heights in the coming time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So thank you. Now I invite Mrs. Smita Jain for her thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, Mr. Goyal, Mr. Agarwal, Mr. Mittal, and all attendees, Rohit, Roshan, for coming to the webinar. It was very insightful and very clearly highlighted the importance of going digital. We hope more and more MSME will take this route in future because digital is shaping the future for lots of business. Thank you once again. Be safe, stay home.